Hey guys, so the following video is a supercut of my entire first trimester vlogs, and I really wanted to share this with you guys because it was something I struggled a lot with during my first trimester. As with most couples, Jordan and I didn't want to tell anybody until at least past the 12th week. And so it was a struggle for me going through all of the struggles that come with the first trimester and not being able to tell anybody. And it was rough because I had actually gone on YouTube and searched for other women who had done vlogs on their first trimester, and you just didn't see it, or at least I wasn't finding it. And I felt like the struggle I was having was most social influencers almost over glorify the first trimester, or they play it out as if they didn't struggle through it, which may be the case, or they just glossed over it, oh yeah, it was kind of tough, but I'm feeling good now. And that wasn't what I needed in that moment. I needed to see other people struggling too. So that's my hope with this vlog, is to show you in the moment where I was at week to week. How was I feeling? Where was my mental space? Where was my physical well-being? And if I can help at least one other pregnant mom feel like she's not alone during a really, really tough 3 months, then this video will have been worth it. So that being said, here's my first trimester. So today I am 4 weeks and 5 days, which is further than I made it last time, which I think is a good sign. And I just want to show you, because I tested yesterday, and if you look, this one's actually the control line, so the pregnancy line is brighter and bolder than the control line is. So just this morning I ended up making the appointment with the OB, and the nurse who did the scheduling was so sweet, and I really appreciated her, and I'm hoping it's a good sign. I didn't end up with a woman that I wanted to be working with, so I'm set up with a different doctor, but the nurse on the phone had a lot of nice things to say about her, so I'm confident that it'll be a good experience. As far as how I'm feeling, this time around is a lot different than it was last month, because I feel like last month it was just everything, and I can only imagine because the egg didn't implant right. I don't know. I don't know. But I feel like I had all of the symptoms, and then suddenly they were just gone. And then it was only a day or two later that I started bleeding. And I was actually just having this discussion with my friend that you can do as much research as you possibly can and think that you know, but until you actually experience something, you don't know. So even when I started bleeding, I knew that it was a chemical pregnancy, but it didn't help with the emotions of it. It didn't help me know what to do. And talking with this OB nurse, she was saying, because I asked her, because I shared all of my fears with her, because I'm hey, last month I had a chemical pregnancy, because I had the positive test, and I was late on my period, and I'm never late on my period, so I never got the confirmation, but I'm pretty sure this is what it was. And so I told her everything, and shared with her that there's still that part in the back of my brain that's constantly whispering to me ooh, what if you start bleeding again? What if this is another chemical pregnancy? And she said with the way I tested this time around and how I'm feeling and everything, she said she's pretty sure it was a proper implant this time. So I have the next 3 appointments set up. My first ultrasound is supposed to be September 2nd, and she was saying that we should be able to hear the heartbeat, so I'm really hopeful. Going back to symptoms I'm feeling this time around, pretty much the only thing I'm noticing is breast tenderness, which I get anyway for my periods, but this is breast tenderness on steroids. It hurts so bad. And then just today, because I've been feeling fine otherwise, and I don't know if I just didn't sleep well, but I'm really tired today, and I just want to read a book and take a nap, but I have so much to do. So when I took this test, the first test, you guys saw, I was bawling. I was so, it was very overwhelming. And then this time around, I guess I knew how I felt. I'm oh yeah, I'm pregnant. I felt this before, and I was right, and I was pregnant. And I'm this time too. I know I'm pregnant. So I still can't get over the fact how quickly it's happening. And so, like, I am worried too. I'm going to be taking another test probably in a couple days just to, like, make sure. So I guess if I had any advice for you guys is take all the tests. Like, if you're ever doubting, just take a test, you know? So, yeah, she set my mind at ease. She said if I do happen to start bleeding, because I did ask her, I'm like, you know, if this happens, what do I do? What am I supposed to do? And she's like, just go ahead and call us, and the only reason you would ever need to go to the ER is if you were in pain or if you're going through a pad every hour. But here we go again. A month later, I got the pregnant test. I will take another one in a couple days just to be sure, but my appointments are all set up, and that's where we're at. So today is week 5, and I ended up taking another test this morning, which was positive. So that's 2 tests now. So I'm feeling pretty confident so far in this pregnancy. Pretty much the major thing that I'm feeling is just boob soreness, and then fatigue. It's been hitting me hard, and I'm just so exhausted. It usually hits me around like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and all I want to do is just fall asleep on the couch. Otherwise, I think the big thing that I've been like suffering with right now is like food guilt. I don't know what to call it, because like I have been very particular and very careful about what I'm putting in my body, because I know the first trimester is the most important, because that's when all the organs are forming, you know, like the brain and the heart and like everything. And so I want to make sure that I'm not eating anything gross or overly processed or too much sodium. So my goal for this whole first trimester is not to eat out at all, or at least not fast food. Restaurants in general might be hard to pass up, just with family, because obviously currently there's only 2 people in my life that know. But fast food for sure is off the table, at least during the first trimester. I've been catching up on my reading because I kind of put that off to the side after the whole chemical pregnancy. And pretty much all of the week 5s were hitting on weight gain to expect during the entire pregnancy. And because I'm 5'3" and I'm around 175, I'm technically obese, which is infuriating, and don't even get me started on it. But pretty much all the charts are saying that I should expect to gain anywhere from 10 to 20, and if I gain any more than that, then I put myself at risk and the baby at risk. And of course, that's something that will be discussed with my OB. But based off of those charts, honestly, I think where I would feel comfortable is if I didn't get past 190. And the idea of hitting 200 again, because I have been there. At my highest, I was 220. And I just can't imagine emotionally being able to handle hitting 200 again. So that's where we're at. So today I'm now 6 weeks along, and I feel like I have a lot to catch you guys up on. I feel like I should have been recording for a while. I just couldn't muster the energy, or if I'm being honest, the to give. So pretty much for the last 4 days, I have had 24/7 nausea with 0 relief and no appetite. Pretty much nothing sounds good to me. Even still, like, nothing sounds good. Like, I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat. But I know I have to, and I know that it helps with the nausea, because having an empty stomach is not good. I didn't realize how much that was having an effect on my mental state, because I was not okay. Like, today is the first day that I actually put effort into taking care of myself. Because pretty much for the last 4 days, I felt like such I've pretty much been crying all day. And it was just the mental torture of 24/7 not feeling good and not having any kind of relief at all. And I'm definitely not 100% better, but literally just this morning I had my first real, like, vomiting session. And oddly enough, I feel significantly better, even mentally, just because, like, it's the first relief I've gotten in 4 days. And I know I probably should have been, like, helping myself more. I did finally order some ginger drops, but they're not gonna be here until tomorrow. So tonight, which is grocery shopping night, which is the only reason I put effort into my appearance, if I'm being honest, I think I'm gonna pick up some ginger ale, because my poor sister, I've been bombarding her every day with texts about how miserable I am, and this sucks, and, like, how do women do this? Why do they do this? Why? And, like, if you'll allow me to be cynical for a moment, honestly, it just me off that it gets put on women. All of this shit. We do literally everything. And what the f do men do? Not shit. Ugh. But then I have to stop and check myself because like Jordan has been trying like really hard. So like a couple days ago, he made an attempt to make like a childhood comfort food for me that was the only thing in the moment that actually sounded good. And he put forth like real effort, and I really appreciate that. Yesterday he ended up cleaning the bathrooms, and he also ran out to pick up some of my safe foods, which have been, so far, I can do applesauce, bananas, and peanut butter toast. And for whatever reason, I have no clue why, but like tomatoes are like really hitting the spot for me lately. So like tomato soup has been like the biggest meal that I can easily consume. So he's trying, and I don't want to shit on him because this is just the way nature is. Like, I'm just the one that has to suffer for this, you know? So my first ultrasound is next week Friday, and we'll find out if their little heart is beating and everything's developing as it should. And honestly, it would be really great to know that I'm not suffering without a reason, you know? But from what I've read, if you have morning sickness, chances are it's a healthy pregnancy, so. Today is week 7, and if I'm being honest, I'm still struggling to be a functioning human being. It sucks, because yesterday was a really good day. I got up early, I did some yoga, which ended up making me feel nauseous. So I'm going to have to adjust when I do it, but I would like to continue. My friend recommended a really good YouTube channel called Yoga with Adrienne, and so far, like, I really like her. She's got a good vibe. So I'd like to continue because, like, walks right now have been too much. Like, I always feel super nauseous after I'm done, and I hate that so much. I've pretty much been on carb overload, and I've been doing my best to fight it because, like, I am lucky, and meat doesn't seem to be, like, a scent aversion for me. And, like, a lot of times I actually really enjoy the scent of meat, and so, like, I try to eat more meat. The biggest issue I'm having right now is just having the energy and the motivation to cook anything. And so I think I might start looking into meal prep. So normally what I do is I keep a banana at my bedside because for me, morning sickness is very literal. It is very much the worst in the morning because I'm waking up from a fast, and so I just feel so sick. And so I normally have a banana, so like I wake up around 4, usually pretty ill. And like I have a bucket at the side of my bed too, just in case. Because it's always just so awful. And then like I'd stomach a banana and like usually end up falling asleep for another couple hours. And then typically I wake up feeling okay. Today I didn't. And then on top of that, I also woke up with a cough, which has since gone away, fortunately. And like I know that I should be thankful because that means that my immune system is starting to lower, which is like good for my MS. But like when every day is a living hell and then you add another symptom on top, it just starts to compile and doesn't feel very nice. So I've been venting a lot to Jordan. Unfortunately, he's been so good. Like, I'm just so grateful to have him through all this. And like, I've barely even started with this pregnancy and I just feel so guilty. Because for me, it doesn't feel like a blessing right now. It just feels like an affliction, like a disease. And I'm really hoping that my first ultrasound kind of changes that for me. Like, I'm hoping by hearing the heartbeat that it makes it more real, or it like awakens something in me. Because I think my biggest fear right now is that like the mother instinct's just not gonna kick in with me. And I just think about like all of these women getting pregnant and like, I don't know if I'm just a giant baby or like if my symptoms are like worse than usual or what, but it just always seems like women are just so happy and sparkly and just grateful to be pregnant and like just so happy and excited to be having a baby that like any of the symptoms they experience like suck, but they like are fine mentally. And like I was even talking to one of my sisters who has had issues with depression. I just asked her, you know, how she managed through her pregnancy. And she told me that her depression was, like, she was the happiest that she's ever been in her life. And I don't think anything has ever made me feel so alone before. And I'm doing everything I can to, like, manage my symptoms. One other thing that I'm looking into getting is you can get, like, those motion sickness like wristbands that are supposed to like hit a pressure point. I don't know how well they actually work. I know you can get like really expensive ones that are supposed to like emit shocks that are supposed to help, but they're like $130, and I'm not spending that kind of money on something that could possibly be like super gimmicky. But I might try like a $10 motion sickness band. Like, I think what's killing me, and I really shouldn't think about it, is just knowing that most women don't feel better until after the first trimester, like week 14, like 12 to 14. So like I could be lucky and like feel better earlier, but chances are I'm 7 weeks today, which means I would still have 7 more weeks to go to feel better, which means that I have been feeling sick less time than I still have to go, and that scares me because like already it's been a huge mental toll. I don't understand why this has been so hard, like for me and on me. Like so far I just hate everything about being pregnant. And so like right now, because Jordan and I want 2 kids, but like the thought of doing this all a second time just like terrifies me. Alright, I'm gonna finish getting ready, but I will see you guys in a couple days, and hopefully we'll hear a heartbeat. It helped a lot. I'm a little bummed. I asked Jordan during the appointment if he would record, and the nurse doing the ultrasound said no, you're not allowed to do that, which I thought was just insane, especially given like the day and age we live in where everybody records everything. The idea that a couple wouldn't be able to record like a very pivotal moment of a very important life change, like that just makes me really angry. And she's like, oh, don't worry, I'll send you a video. And like it was enough to like, I guess, calm me down in the moment, because like I was getting sad because I wanted to capture that moment, and I'm so bummed because what you guys saw wasn't even close, because all I ended up getting from her was a stupid 3-second clip and you can barely see the heart beating. But there was a moment, because it was transvaginal, where she got like the angle just right and you could just see the heart beating so clearly. And just the amount of pride I felt in that moment, like, oh my god, like that's my little dude in there just killing it. So I still feel like crap, but knowing that it's for a reason now and having seen that reason, it makes it easier. Like mentally, definitely not physically. And from what I've read, this is supposed to peak at like 9 to 10 weeks, and today I am 8 weeks, which also means officially that the little passenger is a fetus now and no longer an embryo. Originally I was throwing up maybe once a week, and like currently I've been throwing up like every day. Today is week 9, which also means it's the start of the 3rd month. And even though I'm several weeks away from any kind of baby bump, I do want to at least show just how bloated I am. My stomach feels like a balloon. It does not feel nice. Overall, today has actually been an okay day. I didn't throw up, and that always makes for a great day. And yesterday was like the first day where I actually like was craving something of substance. So we ended up getting takeout from one of our favorite restaurants. I ended up getting a steak, a baked potato, and some broccoli, and it was so nice. I found that like sour foods really do it for me, which I don't know if I mentioned last week. So like lemon water is great. Trying to get enough water in my body has been hard, because just like having water in my mouth is for some reason unappealing to me. So I've been trying to get my liquids other ways, and like lemon water helps. And then those icebreaker sour candies, I don't like to eat a lot of them because they do have aspartame in them, which I know scientists are like divided, like is it okay, is it not okay? So I just keep them as like a backup in case like I need something, or if I'm at like an event or something, or somewhere like I have to be, like I'll be popping them into my mouth just to like help keep my cookies in. But today has been relatively okay. Like I still have that lingering nauseous feeling, but like my appetite is okay, and like overall I just don't feel awful. Going back to the being bloated though, I'm sorry, this is probably TMI, but I have been like so gassy, and I'm not talking just like flatulence, but like burping. Oh my god, like literally. It's been so awful. But at the same time, it's kind of a relief too, because like my stomach will start to get all churny, and then like I'll burp and then it'll feel better. One thing I have noticed like these past few weeks, For one, I have like a very deep respect for people with chronic illnesses, because trying to do literally anything, being in constant pain, is so difficult. Like, and I just can't imagine, like, I have a reason that's gonna go away, but there are some people who are in pain like all of the time, and like I can't even imagine. And like something that's like kind of happened over the past few weeks, and I don't know if it's like high functioning depression, probably, but like I've just stopped giving a shit. Like the house isn't very clean, and like Jordan's trying, but like he's working full time. It's not easy for him to like pick up the slack, you know? And like I pretty much do my hair and makeup one day of the week, which is grocery shopping day, and also the day that I update you guys on how I'm feeling. And that's it. The rest of the time I look like an absolute troll. And like it's always a good day when I put like actual pants on, you know, instead of like pajama pants. And the past few days I have been pushing myself more to like try to do more and get more done. And so like I've been tackling like smaller chores, and like I try to get work done, but like if you're watching this now and you had wondered why I hadn't been putting out videos very frequently, like this is why. Because like it may just be a me weird thing, but like the thought of different tasks will make me nauseous. Like I haven't read in a while, and I just find it so strange that the thought of sitting down and focusing on a book makes me nauseous. Like almost like if you read in the car and you get like nauseous from focusing on, like that's kind of what it's like. And so like I haven't read anything in a while, and like it's hard for me to like focus on like anything. So like working on my computer, or like even like trying to sit down and like product plan, which I was already bad about before, but now like feeling like crap all the time doesn't help. And then the other thing that I've noticed, and I was getting self-conscious about it, is like I've noticed like I get out of breath easier. And so like even as I'm talking to you, I feel like I'm taking more breaths and like deeper breaths. And like I was getting like really self-conscious about it, like, oh man, it's been forever since I've gotten like a good workout in. Like I haven't gone for like a proper walk in forever, because like any kind of movement for extended periods of time makes me sick. But apparently it's just part of the increase in blood volume, which I did know about, but I guess I didn't really think like obviously that would affect my breathing, because I have more blood in my body that I have to oxygenate, you know? So that was interesting. And yes, if you guys did not know, that I think like by the end of pregnancy your blood volume goes up by like 50%. So yes, from what I've read, week 9 and week 10 are supposed to be like the worst, like the peak, and then after that then you should start to feel better. So that's what I'm hoping for, because gestationally speaking, the 3rd month actually has 5 weeks in it, and I think that really sucks. Hey, it is week 10. I would say I've definitely peaked as far as morning sickness. I've been waking up every morning and throwing up. Like every morning without fail. And I gotta say, like, it's made going to bed at night like so difficult, knowing that that's how I'm gonna start every single morning. And I do all of the things. I have the snacks on my nightstand. I have water, and maybe part of it is I've been really struggling with the stupid prenatals. And at first I was like breaking them in half per my sister's recommendation, because that's what she had done, because she also had very bad morning sickness. And the problem I was running into is, I mean, it wasn't every day, but there were enough days where I was forgetting to take the second half that it was making me very uncomfortable. So I started taking the whole ones again, and I did okay like for a couple days, and then there was a day where I just threw up my entire breakfast and the prenatal, and it's incredibly frustrating, because I'm to the point now where like I can't be asked to do pretty much anything. And like today it's currently 3:30, and I just finally like straightened my hair. I'm still in like my pajamas, which is basically just like a giant t-shirt, because like I've been getting so overheated so easily. So I've pretty much been living in like giant t-shirts and like underwear, and that's pretty much it. But I'm gonna have to get dressed somewhat soon, because it's grocery shopping day. My hope is, because I'm at the peak, they say week 9 and week 10 are supposed to be like the worst weeks, and then after that you're supposed to like progressively get better, or like that's the typical trend. So I'm hoping that's the case. But I do want to share like something kind of cute, because I feel like it's been all negative and it's not good for my mental health. because like it is starting to like dip again, and it makes it very difficult to exist when I don't have something good to focus on. So one of the books that I'm reading have just recently started to do like actual size illustrations. So I'm currently week 10, so that's my little baby right now. And I thought that was super cute. Like I could hold them in my little hand right now. It's becoming more than just like a concept. Oh yeah, yesterday was supposed to be my dentist appointment. I've never called last minute to cancel an appointment before. I know there's fees associated. They actually haven't called me back yet. I'm gonna have to call them. But obviously dentist appointments are every 6 months. So this appointment was scheduled 6 months in advance. So like well before I was pregnant. And I guess just to demonstrate how much of a morning person I am, the appointment was set for 8:10. They open at 8 o'clock, so I would have been like the first appointment of the day. So when I called to cancel, because it was a case where I woke up and it was probably the worst day that I've had so far. And so like I just knew, like if they were up in my business with like tools and water and like pastes and like I would have thrown up all over her. I know I would have. So I had to call and leave them a message canceling last minute, which again I have never done before, and I want to say I feel guilty, but quite honestly, I just don't. Like, I did what was best for me in the moment, and the only thing that I kind of regret is I was on the fence about whether or not I should call and reschedule earlier, and I didn't because I thought I could power through it, but I very obviously could not. I don't know, it's just getting hard because like, I'm to the point where I've kind of forgotten what it feels like to feel good. Which sounds so dramatic, but it's been like 5 weeks now that I've felt like shit, which means it's been well over a month of just like every day just feeling awful, just tired and sick to my stomach, and it's miserable and it makes me angry, and I don't know, it just makes me hate pregnancy in general, and like I feel like such a petty human being. Because like there's all these women that are just so grateful and blessed to be pregnant, and oh, what a wonderful thing that God blessed upon us all. And I'm like, this is a f***ing curse. Like this is a curse from the devil himself. I mean, of all the animals in this world that reproduce in different ways, like we couldn't have been a species that reproduce via eggs. That would have been nice. I'm hoping things get better here once the first trimester is over. But for now, I hate pregnancy. I hate it with every fiber of my being. I don't want to be pregnant anymore. I want to have carried our baby to term by now and have had them, and for them to just be here, and for me not to have to go through all of this for them to be here. Today's week 11, and I'm not gonna say that I'm better, but I think I'm on like the upward trend of feeling better. So I would say Monday was probably the best day I've had in a while. I had almost no nausea. Like the morning was rough because I was trying to get like a lot done, but then like towards the afternoon and then the end of the day I was actually feeling really good. Yeah, Monday was also like the first, it was an over the phone appointment with the OB office with one of the nurses, and she was basically going over what I can expect in these coming 9 months and as far as appointments. And she sent me a whole bunch of useful information. I ended up telling her about like the struggles I've been having, and I wish I had talked to them sooner because she ended up giving me a tip that I'm gonna end up buying the stuff today, but apparently something about the combination of vitamin B6, which I had heard is good for nausea, but that particularly paired with Unisum, which is like sleeping, like a sleeping aid. So they're sleeping tablets. Apparently those two together are supposed to be very effective at like combating nausea and just overall like morning sickness. So I'm gonna pick those up tonight and try it out, and hopefully that'll make it a little bit quicker to like feeling better. But otherwise I don't think there's much to report this week. It's pretty much the same stuff. Hey guys, today is week 12, and when I tell you that Unisum and B6 is like the real MVP of my pregnancy story, like oh my god. I was really worried starting out because you're supposed to take it at night, so I would take it before bed, And the day after that first night, I slept like half the day, which is like not like me. Like, I enjoy sleep, but I'm not one of these people that would like sleep all day. Like, I like being awake. I like getting stuff done and like occupying my mind. And so I was really worried because I'm already a low energy person. I've pretty much cut caffeine out of my life completely. So like, I'm not even though I know I can have coffee, like I haven't been. And so I was really worried that because I was already kind of a low energy person, that the sleeping pills would basically like sedate me all day. But I decided to keep going with it just to see if like my body would get used to it and like it would adjust, like I would adjust. And thank God I did, because since I've started taking it, I have felt significantly better. Like, I actually feel like myself again. So I would highly recommend, if any of you are pregnant right now, or if your wife or your girlfriend or your partner is pregnant right now, that you guys talk to the OB and like ask them about Unisom sleeping tablets and B6. Specifically, it's gotta be a low dosage of B6, which is really annoying because it's kind of hard to find. Because when I went to find it, you can only get like 100 or 200 milligrams, which is wild because when I looked up like what could happen from having too much B6, they're like, oh yeah, temporary like nervous system shutdown or something crazy like that. I'm like, that's just wild to me. So yeah, definitely talk to your OB before you take anything, obviously. But like, it really helped, and I really wish that I'd talked to my OB sooner about the struggles I was having, because like, this would have helped significantly. So now that I'm feeling better, like my mood has been significantly better. It's been so much better. And like, I know I'm just a big whiny baby, and like, I recognize that I'm a wimp, but like, I can't be the only one, right? It was funny because I ended up doing a ton of like blood work. So I got that done on Friday, and I got a really sassy nurse. So I don't handle like needles in my inner elbow very well. Like, it's not the needles, it's kind of the blood. Like, I can't look at the blood, but that's like a whole like discussion. Which has a lot to do with my upbringing as a Jehovah's Witness because of their weirdness with blood and like, but no, it's like, it's the pain. And I don't know why I'm such a baby about it, but it hurts really bad. And I don't know if it's because I do have kind of small veins, and like, I was very lucky this time around because the nurse that I had was so good. Like, she didn't even bat an eye, because I warned her, I'm like, sometimes it takes them a while to find a good vein, and she's just like, and like, I swear, she just felt my left arm. Like, she like found the vein like immediately, like felt it out for like a second, and she's like, yep, that's the one, and like didn't even hesitate. Like, the needle went in, and like, it hurt, but like somehow it helped because there wasn't the build up to it, because normally they like go back and forth between like each arm, like feeling it out, like, and that build up like really works me up. And I hate it, but like, she didn't even hesitate, and that was wonderful, because they took, I swear, like 15 vials of blood from me, which I don't think is like entirely uncommon. I'm sure some of it maybe had to do with my MS, I'm not sure, or maybe it's just normal. Like, I honestly, I don't know. Because some people I've told are like, oh yeah, that's normal, they take a lot of blood from you, and like, other people I've told are like, oh, that's really weird, like, they didn't take that much blood from me. So I honestly don't know, and it may just depend on the office. So for the most part, everything turned out fine. I misread my results at first, because when I was looking at like my complete blood count results, the lymphocytes relative looked low, like the percentage was low. And like, that's what I focused on. I wasn't really looking at the absolute, which is like the most important value. So I was worried at first. I'm like, oh, does this have to do with my MS? Like, is this something that I should be worried about? So like, I messaged my neurologist. I'm like, hey, like, I noticed my lymphocytes are low, and my, what are they? The neutrophils. The neutrophils were a little high. And he's like, yeah, the numbers were a little, or the percentages were a little abnormal, but your absolute numbers were fine, and that's what matters. The The neutrophil absolutes were a little high, but I guess that's normal for pregnancy. So basically I was told not to worry about it, that like everything for the most part looks fine. The only other thing was like the rubella antigen test came back, what do they call it, like equivocal. So they couldn't really tell if I had the antibodies or not, which from my understanding, the vaccine for it is like a live culture or whatever. So I can't get it during pregnancy, but the OB was saying like she would definitely recommend it for like postpartum, which I mean, of course, like I'm going to. I'm getting a little excited and a little nervous because like we're starting to like get to the point where we're thinking about like telling everybody in our life now. I know it's ironic because like I do these videos, but it's like it's easy because it's just me and a camera, and like I don't have a huge audience, you know, and most of it's family anyway. But I hate being the center of attention more than like anything. Like when you have like a room of people and they're all just looking at you and like everything's on you to like talk to or entertain, or like I hate that. So like the idea of like standing up in a room full of like Jordan's family particularly, or like even like being in a room with my sisters, which will be easier because they're my sisters and one of them already knows. And then like my sisters are kind of evil anyway, so I just know that if we're like, hey, we got some news, like instantly someone's gonna be like, you're pregnant. Because like that's a joke in our family because we're a very fertile family. And like anytime one of the sisters stands up and they're like, we have news, like that's the news. So I'm really hoping they don't steal my thunder, and I might have to think of a different way to like tell them so it's not as obvious as like just clanking on a glass like, guess what guys, we got news. Especially since some of them know that it has been on our brain and like we have been talking about trying. But first things first is I definitely want to tell our parents first, and I want to do that in like a more private setting, so maybe like invite them out to dinner. That's not private. I mean, I suppose it can be if you have like a quiet table somewhere, you know, so we'll have to like go to like somewhere like small and quiet, like, and not like the middle of a TGI Fridays. I asked Amber to help me think up some like cute ways to like announce it to people, because I feel like she's really good at like the super like sentimental, like cheesy kind of stuff, and I've gotten like really cynical, and so like stuff like that doesn't really hit my radar much. First things first, before we start telling people, is our next ultrasound is going to be on the 11th, which is next Tuesday, so less than a week away. So I'll finally meet my OB in person, because so far she's just been communicating through notes via tests. I have talked to like some nurses in the office, but yeah, I haven't met her in person yet. I finally saw like a picture of her. I was trying to like look her up because she wasn't my first pick, which sounds awful. Like that's probably a horrible thing to say, but I mean, she wasn't. She was just like the next available female in the office, and like the scheduling nurse that I talked to like highly recommended her, and I figured that's better than like ending up with like one of the creepy male gynecologists OBs in the office. I know this is a very unfair opinion, but I just hate the idea of men becoming OBs or gynecologists. Like something about it just makes me very uncomfortable. And maybe that's like a very bigot way of like viewing things. I just hate the idea of it. Like, can men remove themselves from like the primate part of their mind and be professionals? Yes, I'm sure they can. I just, like, there's so many like sleazy people put in positions that they shouldn't be put in, and I don't want to like put myself in that position, you know? Is it right? Is it fair? Is it like a 2022 way of thinking of things? No, it absolutely isn't, and it is probably a problem that I should work on, but it's just the way I feel. On top of that, just from personal stories I've heard, male OBs are not like super great. Like, there's just something about the idea of like I want someone on my side that's been through it, you know? That's felt what pregnancy feels like. And obviously that wouldn't be reasonable for every medical field, but just like this one, it just makes sense. So there's only one more week left in the first trimester, which means there's only one more check-in with you guys before the end of, I mean, this particular video. And I'm getting excited. I'm really nervous. It's a lot. Like, it's a lot mentally. Because like some days it doesn't feel real, other days it like hits me and I'm like, oh my god, nothing's ever gonna be the same again. So yeah, that's where I'm at currently.
Individual person heartbeat too. Really? Yeah, like the S1, S2 sounds.
Hey, it's week 13. Yesterday I had my first visit with my OB, so I got to meet her for the first time and we went over a bunch of stuff. I asked her a bunch of questions. Some of them were admittedly stupid, but it's nice to hear a professional's take on it, like as far as breastfeeding and thoughts on like C-section versus natural birth, because I've heard a lot of really stupid things about C-section babies. But most importantly, we got to hear little passenger's heartbeat, and it was so cool, and she found it so fast. Pretty much as soon as the Doppler was on my stomach, she had picked it up. And it was super cute because there was like a swoosh on the Doppler, and she pointed that out to me, and she's like, that actually meant movement, like your baby's moving in there. And I'm a little sad that we didn't catch that on camera, but we got a really good shot of the heartbeat. And like after the appointment, Jordan and I re-listened to it in the car and I just bawled like an absolute baby. Their heartbeat was 157 beats per minute. So she said everything sounded good. Because it was such a clear audio of the heartbeat, she was able to hear the different parts of the heart even. And so everything sounded healthy, and like just knowing that they're already just moving around in there, and like I'm getting really excited. I've been feeling significantly better. And I've started making like improvements in my life, because since I didn't feel good, I wasn't doing anything, and then that was kind of a perpetual cycle, because even then when I did start to feel a little bit better, I was still like in that habit of not doing anything, which wasn't doing my mental health any good. So I'm back into doing my daily walks again. I'm actually like, I have an appetite, I'm eating healthy foods now, and like I feel like I have a balanced diet again. And I've been just making small steps to get myself back into a good place again, as far as like keeping the house clean and keeping up with projects. And I'm definitely not where I was before, but I'm getting back to it, and that makes me feel good. So I still have to finish out the rest of this week, but after that I'm going to be in the second trimester. So I'm feeling pretty good where I'm ending the first trimester. Everything seems healthy. I'm healthy. My blood pressure was perfect. We're still trying to decide if and when. We're leaning towards yes. But if and when we want to do the genetic testing, which the OB said we could do at any time during the pregnancy, so there's no hurry. But yeah, currently, right now, I'm in a really good place.